I was entirely with it. Like all the deaths, all the how everyone had met their end, even in those like were very sudden. I was still okay with. I was like, okay, I'm with you on this.
The next show that we're going to be talking about is Juuni Taisen.
Ah, yes, Juuni Taisen.
Yes.
All right, you go ahead and start off on this one.
I kind of want to wait back to hear your opinion first.
Well, I think it's quite ironic how we were discussing this from before after we'd watched the first couple episodes, and we were like, well, it's either going to be the fact of Monkey's going to go the distance, or it's probably going to get killed off real soon.
Uh-huh.
And what it ended up happening, we're like, oh, okay. Like 2 weeks after that, I think.
Yeah.
Like episode 6 or something. I'm like, oh, well, that happened. I don't know. I was entirely with it. Like all the deaths, all the how everyone had met their end, even in those like were very sudden. I was still okay with. I was like, okay, I'm with you on this. I can see this. That was poetic justice on some of them. That was their own comeuppance on another, or that was interesting and enough to where it's like, okay, I can see that as something that would have happened, kind of thing. And obviously from like even the first episode, it's pretty obvious that the freaking rabbit dude was going to be like towards the end just because of his abilities.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that dude needed to die so badly. The ending is what killed it for me.
Okay.
In all honesty, it was the ending that killed it for me. And I can't necessarily say it was bad because how it ended made sense. How the guy had his wish. By the way, in Rat's power, that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see that one coming, and it all kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that and how he does it, I mean, I can see why it ended the way it ended. But it's still aggravating that it ended that way. It's just aggravating that that's how it had to end.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess, again, I'm torn. I'm like, I can see the reason why, but it's still aggravating that it did.
Yeah.
And the fact that he used his wish in such a way, I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see that because his way of his ability almost reminded me of ReZero.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Exactly.
And the fact that he does that, and I'm looking at it going, okay, yeah, I could see you wanting to forget all that because, wow, that would suck so badly. So I totally get that, but at the same time, I'm like, damn it, why did it have to end that way?
Mm-hmm.
It just, And then the fact that you kind of see how each one of them have, well, I mean, and some of them you already kind of knew how things were going to play out,
Mm-hmm.
Or how their personality-wise, how they were and whatnot. But at the same time, like towards the end, where because of Rat's ability and what he can do, the fact that he was able to actually see another side of pretty much each of the actual warriors in there,
Mm-hmm.
I thought was really, because it added a little bit more depth that we were missing from that. Otherwise, they're just being warriors. I mean, they had their own backstories in their own way, but it was still nice to actually see something like that as well.
Yeah, I really like how that whole section of the show was kind of like, it's real talk. It's like, yeah, we're enemies. Yeah, we all got to fight. Yeah, we all have a wish, but it's just like, just give a little bit of honesty. Like, just express yourself for a second. I really like that part of the show because when it first started, they didn't explain what was happening. So after he started talking to one person, I'm like, oh, okay, he just came across that person. And he started talking to another person, and I'm like, okay, it's rare, but maybe he came across 2 of those people. And then he came across another person, and I'm like, no. People would have like seen him talking to everybody, and I don't think he would have survived that. But the way that they had it play out, I was like, oh, that's what he's doing. So I'm like, that part was really, really cool.
Yeah, but I mean, like that, oh God, to relive that like 100 times and feel that 100 times. I mean, even what he was saying before about like breakups and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
How he kept trying to get with this one girl, but he went through 100 possibilities, and each one of them failed. But he had to have that feeling of rejection or embarrassment or aggravation 100 different times because he remembers each and every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's even just a small part of that. I mean, then the fact of being dead, I'm like, okay, wow.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that what's his name from ReZero, at one point because of everything that happened, he went freaking nuts.
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what? And when that happened on ReZero, I looked at it and went, you know what? I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that was forced or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I actually and really understand the fact that you just pretty much lost it because of everything that had happened to you up to that point, and you remember all of that.
Yeah.
And the fact that this dude does that and 100 times, I'm like, holy crap.
So, this show is very, very interesting. So I want to kind of do like we did for Recreators, where we go through the characters, because these characters are very interesting, and I kind of want to like go through.
They're all very unique in their own way.
Yeah, so I kind of want to go through like each, like all 12 characters. Very cool. Like battle royale type show.
I think they did it in a really good way, because that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. Sometimes you just get bogged down in the fighting and nothing else kind of happens. So
yeah, and then also like in that one show, something of the Six Flowers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that turned into like a who done it 12 Angry Men kind of debate for like most of the show, and that was an interesting way to do it. Also, I'm glad that this show didn't really do it. They didn't do the whole accusing thing, but a lot of people had like really long monologues, which I was okay with some of them. And in my opinion, I'm not sure if it was just my mood or what, but I feel like they would develop something and then and then he died. Next character.
Yep.
And then like write this beautiful backstory, and I'm like, and then he died. Next character. And I kind of feel like a lot of my empathy and like feelings for the character kind of got wasted like over and over in different ways for each of the characters. So I feel like I wanna give this show like the I don't know, like our opinions that it deserves. Other shows, they are good and everything, but this show had like really, really good characters. And whenever we come across a show like that, I wanna dive like a little bit into each. Okay. So I guess we can go from the picture. So like the top left guy, the horse.
Oh, the dude that was wanting to be strong.
Yeah, the big muscular dude. Like he had a pretty cool story and everything. I hate the way that he died. I don't really tie his last actions into his backstory. Like he fought the Ox dude, and like I guess the guy like scared him, and then there was like the wall exploded, and then he ran off, and then he was just curled up in a ball for like the rest of his time in the show.
I mean, I think what it came down to is that he had built himself up because he wanted to be the strongest.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be the strongest regardless. He wanted the power. And that's why he kept building up his muscles, building up his defense. And when you do something like that, you get it into your head that you're up there. You're top of your game. You're unbeatable kind of thing. And then he came across the Ox. Mm-hmm. And at first he thought he was on par with the Ox because he was contemplating the idea of teaming up. And honestly, if you're thinking about that in that sort of situation, the only reason why someone would want to team up with you is that they consider you on par with them. Yeah. And when they first started fighting, I think he realized real quickly that was not the case. Mm-hmm. Ox was just way too much for him, and he could barely hold his own to not get killed right away.
Yeah.
And I think in that being the case, it just literally crumbled his reality around him.
So it's like one of the things where it's like, yeah, I could probably take out some of these other people, but eventually I'm gonna have to fight him anyway. And then he just kind of gave up, I guess.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I put that. I think he got inside his own head a little too much, and he was like, I'm great. I'm powerful. I'm even on par with Ox. I can take. We're gonna go head to head, and things are gonna happen. And then what ended up happening is he realized rather quickly, no, I'm not. I am really not. I'm not nearly as powerful as I thought I was, and I'm pretty much going to die. And that probably just scared the ever-living crap out of him. So while I didn't necessarily like his ending, I could probably see where it came from.
Mhm.
But again, other than the Ox, I think he had like one of the shortest backstories. Like, I really didn't know a whole lot about him at all, other than he was wanting to become more strong, more bulk, more everything about himself. So,
All right, we are back. So, we just finished talking about the Ox. So,
no, horse.
Let's see. I'm trying to think what order we should. I guess we should go in counterclockwise according to the pick, because the Ox was pretty cool.
Well, we talked about the horse. That's all we've talked about so far.
Yeah. So right under the Ox, we have the what was the first lady? The boar.
Oh yeah, her.
Yeah,
The one that died like right from the get-go.
So we talked about this in our first impressions, how they basically showed off her awesome fighting powers, and then she talked and died, within the first few minutes.
I mean, her only ability is that she has never-ending bullets, which is, I mean, cool. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And she's quite ruthless. And honestly, I kind of felt like out of all of them, I probably had zero compassion or sympathy for the fact that she died. Considering the backstory that they showcased for her, I was like, that was probably a good thing that she died when she did.
Yeah, it's I'm a little because I'm trying to think, where can I put this? There we go. I'll put it in here. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, she deserved it kind of stuff. It's she got really corrupted.
Yeah, she did.
And because of that, then I have no sympathy for her and stuff like that. But I feel like they wasted her potential, because if she was just a pure talented soldier and just went into it like that, I feel like she could take tons and tons of people out, even if she didn't use the stuff that was cool to me was not even the bullet stuff. It was like her physical fighting ability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I see that going into this tournament and everything, everybody has to have some kind of special power, because hand-to-hand combat. Well, I don't know. Like the monkey, she had really nice hand-to-hand combat, but she was also really, really smart. So.
She was above all everyone else, probably the best in hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, so I feel like if the boar without the guns and everything went up against the monkey, I think the monkey would take her out. But yeah, I feel like they kind of, I don't know, they did the same thing where they're like, man, look how cool she could fight, and then she's not gonna fight at all. She's gonna use bullets, and then she's gonna die in the first episode. And I'm like, come on. So.
But again, out of all of them, I was not anywhere. I was actually a little bit glad that she kind of did.
Yeah. Considering
her personality, I was like, no, you're no one that anyone I think really wants to win this, and it would probably be bad if you did. So let's just go ahead and say that that's probably for the best.
So the next person in the list is the monkey.
I was actually a little sad that she died.
Yes.
I was a little sad. I mean, I'd already kind of primed myself for the fact that it was a possibility, and a rather strong one, given how the show works and everything. Mm-hmm. But I was still a little sad that in the end she did, because especially the fact that she died to the rabbit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good, no, you above all else. If she'd have died to the ox or someone, I would have been like, you know what, that's sad, but I'm okay with that. But she died to the rabbit, which meant she got zombified.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, and then she
now you have
playing.
Someone who already has incredible strength and great hand-to-hand combat is now have undead strength on top of that.
Yeah.
And is still good at hand-to-hand combat. I'm just like, oh, God.
I also kind of feel bad for her, husband, boyfriend, significant other.
Yeah.
Because, is that the only character? Well, other than, because they showed the boar's family. No, they showed other people's who they know outside of. Yeah, the old man. And then for the dog, he has that little kid and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they've shown it, but for some reason, I just feel bad for that guy because he's like, you don't have to work all the time like that. And she's like, no, but I do. And he's like, okay. And he like eats his soup all sad. And then now she's gone. And I'm like, I feel terrible for him. But yeah, with her death, like the way she died, like to who she died, I'm like, yeah, that sucked that she died to the rabbit. But the way that she died, I'm like, okay, like because she was fighting him and she could see all his moves and everything, and then for him to pull out that like sneak attack, I'm like, okay, he got the upper hand.
The fact that he used the head of the snake, in order to watch his back.
Yeah.
No, I mean it was a worthy enough ending. It was just sad and kind of aggravating the fact that it happened because of that. But no, I mean the only thing I'm really like, and then I kind of wanted to know what her plan had been.
Yeah, like even a lot of people wanted to know too in the show.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to know what her plan would have been. And it sucks that it ended that way because of that. So
next person in the circle is the dog.
I'm torn with his character. I really am.
I'm okay with the way that he went.
Yeah, when he died, I was actually kind of like, okay, yeah. I was almost in the same sense of like the boar, where I was like, yeah, that probably just needed to happen. Yeah. But then when you find out more about him and realize he's taking care of a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it. Just damn it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I kind of felt that way, and I was kind of like, okay. But, I mean, yeah, his death, just like many of them, his death was still sudden, but it was very poetic in its own sense. The fact that he was trying to use the rooster? Yeah, the rooster. He was trying to use the rooster, and then she'd pretty much been playing him the entire time.
Yeah, like that was clever. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see, the next guy is the bomb guy. OG-chan.
Him too. I was a little like we seemed to keep going back and forth. So like Bora was like, all right, I'm glad she died. Then was like, not so glad. It's kind of sad. Then kind of glad. Now this one I was kind of like, it's kind of sad that happened.
Yeah.
Wait, it did. Keep going back and forth on that.
Yeah.
I kind of liked the old dude.
Yeah.
He was a survivor. He was.
Definitely.
You know,
I didn't like him when he was younger, but as an older guy, I'm like, okay, he's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that shows that as he progressed, he got wiser with age.
Yeah.
And he started being smarter about the things that he did.
Mm.
And so, I mean, I kind of liked his character, and it's kind of sad to see him go, and especially as sudden as it went. But here was somebody just like it was with the dog, who underestimated their opponent.
Yeah, vastly.
Vastly underestimated. I mean, the dog underestimated the rooster, and he vastly underestimated the tiger. He thought, oh, she's drunk, and because you know what, the minute she said her name and said who she was, with killing with a drunken rage, I was like, oh, you're and then all of a sudden it was like done. I'm like, yep. Nope, I saw that's about to happen. I mean, I was kind of too. I was like, wait, is she just getting drunk? Is it just because no one's around? She's like, oh, I can do whatever. And then she pronounces her name, and I'm like, killing with a drunken rage. Bam, dead. I'm like, all right, well, shit. That happened.
Yo. Yeah, I like how like he was trying to avoid the he didn't run away from something for a long time. That was another person. It was I think he just was running away from the ox.
He ran away from the ox, yeah.
Yeah.
But see, he had cunning and he had smart.
Yeah.
He was.
And then he had like a. Yeah, he had like a if things go wrong plan. He's like, fuck it, boom, blow everybody up. So that was I really liked him. He was pretty cool. Let's see. The next person is spoilers. The winner, the rat guy.
Rat. Again, like we were saying before, his power, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Or even have an inkling as to that. But the fact that he is the rat, that power almost kind of makes sense to me for him. Because, I mean, I can think of it in a couple different ways. Because you see a rat, and there's always swarms of them. So you got to figure, and all of them look the same. So he's got hundreds of lives, essentially. But he lives them out inside of his head.
That makes sense.
And the fact that rats always kind of seem as kind of cheap and that ability is kind of cheap.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he can basically run through 100 different possibilities in his head and see the outcome for each and every single one as it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good lord. That is like, but the fact that he retains the memories and the feelings of each and every single one of them.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's as cheap as that ability is, the blowback from that is intense. You remember each and every death, you feel each and every death, you know, getting burned to death, getting frozen, getting sliced up, getting shot up. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah.
How that would work, but it would be the only reason why he was able to win what he was able to do. So
yeah, so like you were saying, his powers is really cool. It's like super advantageous, but it has very, very bad drawback. And it's not one of the things where it's like the ultimate trump card that you can use like every couple minutes. So it's it can be a huge burden.
No, it can be.
One thing so his power's cool. His personality sucks. He's like a little shallow high school brat. Like when he was talking with the monkey in the sewer, like you could tell like the differences in age or differences in maturity. Where she would say certain things and he would say like, "Oh, just everybody just die" and all that kind of stuff. And then even when they went into like his backstory and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, yeah, I've had my moods where I'm like, I don't feel like talking to people, but like for people to just take on that personality and like that's just all the time, no people. I'm like, I get that, but I'm like, I don't know, I just don't like that part of his personality. He is very smart to where he only needs like he can figure everything out within 100 choices or most things. One thing that there's two parts where he went through all of his choices and couldn't come up with an outcome, and I feel like he's not thinking about the big picture. So when he is and that just may be an age thing. So when he was asking the girl out, I'm like, when I was in high school and I was like, oh, she's cute, I should ask her out. And I eventually, like very few times I would like ask somebody. One of my things would be they probably already have a boyfriend or somebody that they like. That's like one of the first things I would think of. And he tried 100 different times and then found out that she liked somebody else, and then he's like, oh no. So I feel like he's not thinking about the big picture as far as that situation.
Well, and I agree with that, but again, like you said, I think that it has to do with maturity.
Yeah. And it's like that's one of the reasons why I want to kind of like review all these characters, because thinking of like hindsight's 2020, like knowing the power that he has and then thinking about earlier in the series how he thought about things, it's making me get a more solid like opinion of his character. So the second part is when he was trying to come up with the 99 wish or 100 wishes and stuff like that. I didn't want to go through and like pause and read all of the things that they put, because I think they put 100 choices. Some of them had like throwaway answers. Like I can't remember like some of them. I'm like, why would you think that? I can't remember like.
Well, you mean like you're saying like some of the wishes that he had would seem like they would be more trouble than they were worse, kind of thing?
Yeah, like he would come up with a reason to immediately dismiss it, and I'm like, but what about this other reason that would be good? And that also may be tied into maturity, but
yeah, I mean he's short-sighted, but he doesn't have the experience to be able to actually see things in a broader perspective. So
okay,
his focus is rather narrow. But I mean, again, he's in high school. It's kind of, it makes sense with his character. So
so that's like the more I think about it, like I like the way you said short-sighted. That sounds cool. So that little bit of I don't know, like I guess his immaturity like took more, and his immaturity bothered me more than how cool his power was. So
well, yeah, but I mean, once you realize that when he gets older, he's going to be like
unstoppable,
2 or 3 times even better than he is now, just because
he's like 100. I need like 20 maybe.
Yeah.
So so that's gonna be cool. Let's see the next person. the tiger.
I really felt bad for her.
I
I
was
really did.
so sad.
I really felt bad for her. I mean, I understand. I understand her backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I understand where it comes from. She had a good life going for her, and then bad things happened.
Yeah.
And she lost her way.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it came down to. She lost her way, but see, she had so much power already that even after she lost her way, she could still carry on.
Yeah.
How she was.
Yeah.
And then because of that, then she ends up finding the ox and kind of sees somebody in the way she wanted to be in the first place.
Yeah.
So she actually starts kind of idolizing him.
Yeah.
But then like the way that ended, where the ox had to kill her, I was just like, oh God.
Yeah.
God. Because you could almost say that her admiration for him borderlined on probably love.
Mm.
I could see that. Which is probably the reason why she made the choice without even thinking about it of protecting the ox.
Yeah.
Because, but all in all, though, as far as that goes, that aside, as far as her backstory, her power, though, was still pretty damn cool.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Cool. The fact that, she was basically drunken warrior. She was the drunk she got, the more powerful she got.
Yeah.
Move faster, hit harder, brush off, blows to her without even really considering it or having to worry about it. I mean, it was just, yeah.
Yeah. I like her kind of roller coaster, how she was like naive, just not knowing about like the horrors of the world. And then the way she took it is just to kind of drown everything in alcohol. And in doing that, she ended up developing this really cool power that helps her continue in her profession. But then she finds somebody like, I don't know if like she 1 second. What? Like I don't know, like what, like why was the ox just faster than her, and he just showed up on the battle scene, and before she could actually kill anybody, he killed everybody first?
I think so.
So I can't remember if it was that or if she was just like in another rut and like wasn't really.
Well, I mean, she was kind of walking that way, and then was about to get ambushed, and the ox stepped in.
Okay.
Before she could actually react to it. So she kind of came as that damsel in distress kind of thing, and he kind of saved the day, and then took her back to get medical attention. Mm-hmm. But that in itself was still sad, is the fact that he didn't realize who she was.
Yeah. Even
though he didn't know her.
Yeah.
And even he was saying that, oh, she reminds me of that one girl I found on the battlefield that I ended up saving. And I'm like, yeah, it's because that's who it was.
Yeah. It's like, but it couldn't have been her because she doesn't drink.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was really funny. And then once she met the ox, she turned back to the way she used to be, except she's like way more knowledgeable now. So now she's like,
well, it's because she got her shit together. She actually started focusing on where she needed to be.
Yeah.
She had a purpose. She had a goal. She understood that even in this crazy world, there was still somebody powerful out there who still did what they believed, that they made a choice and they stuck by it, kind of thing. So
I guess one thing that's also like really cool that I'm thinking happened is she, like you said, she got her stuff straight and everything, and then she started using like guns and everything in her job, where I feel like she knew that she didn't need to get like in drunken fist mode for every situation. Yeah. And like when the situation called for it, then she would like just drink herself into that mode and then go all out. So yeah, it's like really cool now that I think about it, because like at the beginning of the was she already drunk in the very beginning, like when they all walked into the room?
Nope.
Yeah, because then she saw him and he noticed that he didn't recognize her, and then she just got all pissed and like went into drunk mode. So yeah, like,
well, I think she realized that at that point that she needed to be at her full extent. Yeah. Simply because, I mean, the whole building blew up and they had to all go fleeing from it. Yeah. Kind of thing. So if that doesn't put you completely on your guard and be like, all right, this is serious. Something's about to go down, and I need to be like on top of my game now at this point.
Yeah.
So that's why she pulled out all the stops. But still funny to see that she got drunk in a park basically and had like some 20 bottles surrounding her. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then, just like the monkey, she ended up she ended up getting seriously injured by the rabbit, and
but then the ox ended up finishing her off before she could become his puppet.
Yeah, because that would be very bad.
That would have been bad enough with the monkey.
Yeah. Oh man. So, she was my favorite character, and of course, my favorite character dies. So, I wasn't. And I'm trying to think, like, she had the most development out of all the characters, I think.
Yeah.
So,
probably the next one too, or would have been monkey.
Yeah, and then probably the twins would be after that.
Yeah.
So, Tiger was my favorite, but she went out like, I don't know, like the very, very end of it was. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So the next person is the twins, or next people are the twins.
I did not care much for them. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I held no remorse. I felt like I wasn't necessarily elated that they had died in the same sense that I was kind of with Boar. I was like, all right, that needed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they were as about middle of the road, neutral of a character as you could possibly get.
Yeah.
Where I had no strong feelings one way or the other for them.
Because it's like they were jerks in the actual battle, and then if you go in their backstory, they were still jerks. And you're like, you know what? I don't like these dudes. So
you're jerks. You do some things potentially kind of good, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point, their backstory came so late in the series, and we'd already seen so many other worse people that did that, much worse and whatnot, that by the time their jerkishness came up, I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
You're whatever. You almost seem petty in comparison to the rest of them.
Yeah.
So.
And like they even try, like, I don't know. I feel like for me, I feel like a lot of this, like I said earlier, like they'll build up something and like, nope, throw that in the trash. Build up something else, you're like, this, nope. So I feel like they did that with these characters twice. Like in the fact of, they were kind of like Robin Hood, except they would kill everybody.
Yeah.
Like take from the rich, take from the rich, give to the poor, and then kill everybody. And I'm like, well, okay. And then there was another part where when the rat talked to them, and he talked to them both at the same time, and they're like, oh, everything's about the money. And then he talked to them individually, and they had like a completely different. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It's like, why? Like, why'd you like? You keep building up stuff, but then taking it away. And I'm like, when they built
I think for them, I think it's because of the fact that it might have been that the twins thought the other wanted the money, so that's what they said.
Yeah.
Just because they thought that.
Yeah. But
in reality, that wasn't the case, and it wasn't until he got them alone that they were actually able to be honest about it.
Yeah.
So.
And it's like it's like out of the two deaths for both of them, the first one was kind of funny. Because it's like, the tournament didn't even start yet, and he died.
You're already dead, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, they won't be teaming up. And then, the second one, I have a question. Why was he flying? Because I'm like...
He's the dragon? That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
The other one, the one with the fire was the snake.
Yeah.
And then the ice one was the dragon. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure they just gave him that ability, essentially, is that he can fly.
Okay.
But that's all I can think of.
They had mentioned something about the other one, like, they had mentioned Snake something about him. I can't remember what they had mentioned.
Yeah,
or like Serpent Rip, something. They mentioned something about that. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Because I'm like, that little frozen hydrogen thing, I'm like, if it's spraying out enough to like propel him into the air, I'm like, that thing should have been empty a long time ago. So.
Yeah, no, that's just his ability. Because they did that when they were escaping. He didn't have the tank. They were escaping that warehouse where the snake dude got the lizard, and they went out through the roof.
That's right. Okay. I was so confused. I'm like, he was floating in the air for like an episode and a half, and I'm like, why are you flying? I don't get it.
Yeah.
But
Didn't help him any.
no, that was so cool how that happened. Because it was like,
Monkey propelled rabbit straight up to him.
yeah, like everything the rabbit
just
has
sliced him in half.
Yeah, everything the rabbit has is all like a hive mind, and it's like, or I'm curious if like the monkey thought of it, and he's like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll be over there in just a second, and then like she just,
that's entirely
boom! I'm
plausible.
Like, whoa! I'm like,
I mean, you already knew she was strong to begin with,
yeah.
and then the fact that she got undead and was even stronger.
Yeah,
I can totally see that.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, the twins, they're all right.
Yeah.
The rooster.
She kind of had a tragic backstory.
Yeah.
She had a tragic. I kind of felt sorry for her, but not nearly as much as the other two, like Monkey and Goat. I felt more sorry for. Mm-hmm. But again, I consider her death to be quite poetic in its own way.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, she ended up getting eaten by birds. So
yeah, she ran away from the or
no, she took advantage of the dog.
Yeah.
And got injected with that venom that he had to make her like a super soldier, essentially.
Yeah, and then that
backfired. But because
on.
of that venom, her aggression
made it so aggro.
Basically she instead of running away like she would have, she went into the fight.
Yeah.
Because of the aggression that she had from that, and she had no chance against the ox, even with that, and was like sliced pretty much right then and there. Yeah. I think it was a one-hit shot and be like, all right, you're done. Yeah. And as she lay bleeding there on the street, her birds came and ate her up.
That's right. She controlled the birds. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, she had made the birds eat the body of the snake. Mm-hmm. And then I guess at that point in time, after she was no, I don't think it was the dog. She came across the body of the headless body of the snake, didn't she?
Well, I think the snake was chasing the mouse later on.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was the dog. I thought she just snapped his neck. I swear she just snapped his neck. And then it was one of the zombies that were running around that she ended up. It was the boar. She killed the
that's right.
Body of the boar.
Okay.
Because then they tried to use the ammo thing where she was trying to kill all the birds, but there were too many birds for her to actually take out. So basically, by the time she could, they already started ripping into her and ate her up. Okay. And then she remembers saying to the birds, "Well, I know you're going to be full for a while, but you'll be hungry soon again." And so by the time she was laying there bleeding out on the street, she just accepted her fate then and just called her birds and had her kill them basically.
Okay.
It was like, okay, sure, that's what floats your boat.
And then after her, we have the rabbit.
I think the only reason why he probably has the least amount of backstory is simply because, like, other than the ox, I think it's just because the ox had at least a little bit of story with the tiger, and that was it. Hello.
Yeah.
Can I help you? But I don't know. There was very little backstory to him at all. None really.
So with like as far as the story goes, I feel like they gave backstory to people who they want you to feel for, and they wanted to keep the rabbit as just the main villain, so they didn't give him any backstory.
Yeah, no, he literally had zero backstory.
Yeah. But
I kind of wanted to know how he got to where he was.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of interesting.
Yeah, because like I want everybody to be my friend. I'm like, did something happen when he was normal? And like nobody wanted to be his friends? And he's like, I'll make you my friend or something.
I could totally see that.
Yeah, and I'm like...
Not where that came from.
I feel like if they did that, then you'd kind of feel sorry for him, his human form, but then still
with the things that he had done, all the things he did, no. He was psychotic.
Well, it's like you would think of, like, for me, I would think of him in two ways. I would think of it like a tragic life, and then because of what happened in his life, he ended up turning into this just demon. And because of what people did to him before, now look at what you've created is this, like, unstoppable creation.
And his outfit, too.
He was wearing heels. So...
the hell? Like,
super
dude,
buff legs and
eclectic choice, I'm sure, but still,
yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, like every time he like walked from around the corner, it was like just big thighs, like tink, 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 and I'm like, ew, run.
I don't know. I like every time I saw him, like until he started doing something. If he was just standing there, I could not take him seriously. Until he started doing something, killing somebody,
Yeah.
or speaking, I really couldn't take him seriously. But yeah, his "I want everyone to be my friend" kind of was like, dude. And of course, everyone knew when Rat asked him what his wish was going to be, what it was going to be. I already knew what that was.
Yeah.
What he's been doing this entire time.
Yep.
He wants everybody to be his friend.
Yeah. But one thing about his like his, I guess, intelligence level, I'm like, is he getting it from all of his like friends? Because certain parts I'm like, I can see him doing that on his own, but then a lot of things like jumping up into the sky and taking out the dragon, I don't see him coming up with that. Luring the monkey over to that tree where he has that head, I can see him doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like I couldn't get a
There's a fine line between genius and psychoticness, because you really have to be out of your mind to really think about things in ways that no one's ever thought about them before.
Yeah.
So I can see him being a highly intelligent person, but he's also completely psychotic.
Okay.
Completely psychotic. So I think he just kind of goes back and forth between that.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, and the last character, the ox.
Again, other than the rabbit, he was probably the only one who really didn't have any backstory to him whatsoever.
Yeah, like even the stuff that he did with the tiger, he was just like,
he was in and out. He
was like, I'm here to save you. Okay, see you later.
Yeah, he puts down some rhetoric about how he does what he feels like needs to be done, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But like everybody in there knew him immediately.
Yeah.
There wasn't a person in there who did not know of him.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm slowly losing it. When towards the end when I feel like he's so powerful and so skilled that he doesn't know how to be normal.
Yeah.
Because when
he's lost his humanity, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz
I can see that.
When what was it? When the tiger was bleeding out and he was like, so, but what about our duel? It's like, and she's like, nah, just forget about it. And he's like, okay, I will do this as the duel. And then like, he's just like adamant on certain things.
He's arrow focused on that certain thing. But yeah, no, I can see that where he's just become so powerful that he pretty much has lost whatever humanity he had. But I mean, I can't necessarily say there were definitely characters that I didn't like more than him. And I'm saying not like as far as, you know, he kind of seemed like the bad guy because everyone was afraid of him.
Yes.
No one wanted to go up against him.
Yeah.
And like he decimated and pretty much broke the horse right from the get-go.
Yeah.
But even then, when you started to actually hear him and see what he does and listen to what he says, I didn't hate him as a character.
Yeah.
I thought he was a really good character. I thought he was really well done. And how he ended up meeting his end was quite poetic in his own way. It was probably the only way he could have gone down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, basically the only way you can get rid of him is to take his sword away and basically strap him to a bomb.
Basically.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what happened in a roundabout way, but yeah.
Yeah. That last like encounter, it's cool how everything like tied in and it was like, this is his 1 in 100 chance. Like he just happened to hear this from this one person. He just happened to hear that from another person.
Happened to get this from one person.
Yeah. And
he had to get the bomb.
Yeah. And then he had a few seconds, like maybe a minute, and then that window will be gone. So that last.
And there was no malice towards it. There was no malice towards it at all. He literally said, "I'm sorry. This is just the way it's going to have to be." And the ox saw it, knew what was being done, knew what was being said. So, no, I understand.
Yeah.
It was all just like matter of factly, like, yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
because
can't feel
even the
bad about that.
yeah, like even the ox, he was like, I don't know how I would get rid of him either. It was like,
Yeah,
it's like every time I chop him into pieces, he just starts rolling after me.
yeah,
And he's like, I can't get to gas quick enough or to something to blow up quick enough.
yeah.
So he's like, yeah, this is yeah, it was so cool that last encounter. So the everybody clap your hands guy.
He needed to die. I mean, he just needed to die.
There was no reason he had to
have
say
that
that
in there,
one
no.
phrase.
No, and he said it all the time.
Yeah, everything else, he sounded ominous. He sounded cool. He sounded like he's in charge. Like
Everybody clap your hand. No. No. Just no. You go away now. You go in the corner and you think about what you did. No.
It was so weird because like when he was talking to like the heads of like countries or whoever those people were, I can't remember, and yeah, he has this like just deep booming voice, and he speaks like kind of quick, so it's like this and this and this and that, and then everybody, okay, now it's time to place your bets and all that kind of stuff, and then just all of a sudden it's like he knew that it would just throw everybody off, and he's like, I'm just gonna say it because that makes me laugh.
That's my thing. That's what
Yeah,
I do. Everybody clap your hands.
Yeah. So I'd say if you took that one line from him, he would be like the coolest, like event holder.
Yeah.
But
I would agree. I would agree.
This is so weird. Did he say everybody place your bets in that way, or did he just say it normal?
I think he just said it normal.
Yeah, I'm like, why not?
So it's literally
I'm like-
that one line is the only line he does that with.
I'm like, if he would have said it that way, I would have been like, you know what? I'm okay with you saying that line every now and then because you know when to use it, right? But he doesn't know.
No.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of weird. Like even when he was talking to the rabbit at the end, it was kind of like that Dormammu I've come to bargain moment. It's like it just kept repeating the same scene. He's like, "Oh, are you gonna help me?" He's like, "No, get out of here."
Yeah.
But, yeah. So overall, I would say it's a pretty cool story and everything. The characters are very interesting. I like the way the whole event played out. I wouldn't mind them doing like another season, like with different, like the next generation, like 12 years later kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because then like maybe, like for let's say for the tiger is like one of the other people from the
dojo.
From the dojo that she used to like beat up all the time, but that person was like number 2 or something like that. Yeah, that would be really cool to see, like or maybe even I don't know if I would be okay with a prequel. Like, cause did they talk about like previous?
They mentioned one like in the beginning.
Okay, and didn't somebody like win before?
They had it in space, I think.
Okay. Oh yeah, I kind of remember something like that.
So.
But yeah, that'd be cool if they had like another one, like Juuni Taisen 2, the next generation or something like that. I had to watch it. All right. So this show is done.
This is a really good shonen show, and I can see it going the distance and really getting a lot of episodes and everything. And I'm really intrigued. That's pretty much what this is. It's like each thing, each episode is just a little bit of a story about the daily lives of these guys and